Howdy, howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. Do you want to know the secret to growing your business that no one else will tell you about? That is exactly what we will discuss in this video. When I got started in business way back in the Stone Age, I knew very little about, well, how to run a business, to be quite frank. I learned a lot about running a business through trial and error, OJT, or on-the-job training as it presented itself through those trials and errors and, well, just plain learning things the hard way. And man, if I knew back then what I know now, it sure would have made life so much easier for me. One of the biggest things I have learned over time is managing interruptions. But wait, that in and of itself sounds simple, but what does it really mean? Well, think about your day-to-day life in your business. Seriously, pause this video, grab your Big Chief tablet and your number 2 pencil, and start writing down a list of what interruptions cause you to lose productivity. Okay, now that you have your list, let's compare your list to my list. Now, they may not be exact, but as we go through the lists, we will see there are huge similarities and ways to overcome these productivity-destroying monsters we call interruptions. First and foremost, one of the biggest interruptions to be sure is this right here. Yep, that is right. That pesky old telephone, cell phone, business phone that keeps on ringing all the time. I know, you have to get calls to get sales, to make money, to stay in business. I get it. And you know what? I am not saying get rid of the phone altogether. Rather, use that phone to manage your interruptions you get every single day that slow down, hinder, and sometimes just plain stop your productivity altogether. Let's explore the deep secret about interruptions no one is really talking about, and unfortunately most people just simply do not know. Many people view interruptions as much appreciated little breaks during the day, and you know what? Breaks are very important to take during the day. I am talking about scheduled breaks, planned rest periods, time to reflect and regroup moments that are voluntary. These are must-have moments for everyone during their workday, to be sure. But interruptions are not breaks, nor should they be viewed as a break. You see, in a recent University of California Irvine study, it indicated that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back to the task after an interruption. Did you hear that? 23 minutes and 15 seconds recovery time needed to get back on task after just one interruption. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, John, you must be losing it entirely. There is no way it takes that long to recover from an interruption. And you know what? I get it. I understand the skepticism, but hear me out. You see, you need to ask yourself, when I get interrupted, even on a sales call, what do I do once the interruption is over? Most people have these little routines, these resets, refocus tasks that they do prior to getting back on task with what they were doing before the interruption. Those little reset tasks include things like checking email, checking in on social media sites, reviewing to-do lists, getting a fresh cup of coffee, going to the restroom, and many other things like that. It is just natural for us to go through whatever routines we have before getting back on track. Then when we sit down to get back on track, we have to refocus on what that track was and get back in the zone. So you see these things? These little must-have devices can cost us literally hours in productivity every single day. So how do we manage those interruptions from these necessary devices? Great question. The one biggest thing I ever did to increase my productivity by limiting the distractions of phone calls was to get a dedicated business line. When I first started my business, like many of you out there, I had a limited budget. I had a cell phone already, and I just used that phone for my business line. And it worked out well, sort of, kind of. I mean, well, okay, not really when I look back at it in hindsight. You see, I got calls from friends during the day. I got calls from family during the day. I got solicitation calls daily. You know, those ones about your car's extended warranty, those calls. And this was my business line. I had to answer every single call for fear of losing an opportunity to get a new client. The struggle and the fear is real, folks. I know, I get it. So what I did was I got myself a second phone just for the business with its own number, which I used to advertise my business. And this helped me out immensely, folks. I could put my personal phone down to the side, usually off to the back of my desk, out of sight, and I only looked at it during those scheduled break times of my day. Then my business phone sat closer to me, so when I got those important business calls, I knew they were worth answering. Now, I have multiple businesses, so I have multiple business lines. Now, what I use is a service called Ring Central. With Ring Central, I have multiple business lines that all go to one user extension, and that user extension rings on my business phone. And the great thing about this is that I have each number named for the business line it is tied to. So what I see on my phone is I am getting a call from the caller's number or name if they're in my contacts and what business line they're calling. So then when my phone rings, I can look at my phone and I know how to answer the phone and what to prepare for as I answer the phone. I will leave a link below for Ring Central if you are interested in checking them out. Now, this link is an affiliate link. If you do purchase their services, I do make a wee bit of a commission. Now, even when you get business calls on a dedicated business line, those calls are still a huge distraction from whatever else you were doing. So how do you recover quickly in those situations? Again, I want you to do a little exercise over the next few days. I want you to have your Big Chief tablet and your number 2 pencil sitting on your desk with one page always on top that has the words, "What am I doing?" at the top. Then every time you have an interruption, when you look at that note, quickly write down what you were doing, then get back to the task at hand as quickly as you can. I would venture to say the things you will find on your list will look very similar to that list we discussed before. Those little reset tasks, including things like checking email, checking social media sites, reviewing to-do lists, getting a fresh cup of coffee, going to the restroom, and all that jazz. Here is the number 1 time suck that uses up a huge chunk of that 23 minutes and 15 seconds for most people today as they are resetting, refocusing, and recovering from an interruption. These little things here, check them out. All of these little things will eat up your day so quickly and you will never know what happened to your time. After all, we were just staying connected, maintaining contact, and keeping yourself in the loop. Well, folks, staying in the loop is not staying in the zone, and staying in the zone with the project at hand is what makes you productive in business and keeps your business growing and able to be profitable. You need to get rid of these, all of them, right now. Now, I know that is nearly impossible for most of us. Heck, even me, the old PI guy, I have social media accounts. I use them for business and for my personal life. I use them to stay connected, maintain contact, and keep in the loop. But I do that on my own time, on my own schedule, and I never have them as a priority in my life, business or personal. I do not have any social media apps on my business phone. Do not ever, never get on social media during business hours unless it is a scheduled task for, let's say, marketing, for instance. So you need to take all social media apps off your business phone, or at least, at the very least, turn off all notifications on your business phone for these time suckers. Now, there may be one exception. If your business gets leads from one of these social media sites or a widget on your website and it is part of your regular marketing and sales program, then obviously you need to keep it. Now, after you get all of these off your business phone, then make sure your personal phone is off, silent, airplane mode, or whatever it takes to make sure you do not get those messages, beeps, dings, and boops throughout the day. The next biggest time suck for most business owners and entrepreneurs is this, folks. That is right, your email. It is the most necessary and one of the most time-sucking things you will find in your business. On average, most business owners will spend up to, wait for it, 1/3 of their office day on emails. That is reading emails, deciphering emails, replying to emails, and organizing emails. Here is one huge trick you can do to help manage those emails and stop letting those emails manage you and sucking up all your time. Create folders for high volume and important emails. Now, I use Outlook, but most email clients have the same features. For instance, I have a folder called EVCO, and all emails going to my EVCO Investigations email account gets put into that folder. And I have a folder named Greeley Process Server, and all of my Greeley Process Server emails get put into that folder. Now, I don't put them in there. This is the key to organizing and managing your emails. I use rules to auto-put emails into specific folders. So I have a folder for PPIC, Professional Private Investigators Association of Colorado, an organization which I am the president of. And all emails regarding PPIC go into this folder with rules I have set. And inside the PPIC folder, I have other folders like training, conference, board, and other topics. Then I have rules set that look at things like who sent the email, who it was sent to, keywords, and other factors to help sort it all out. Here is a quick snapshot of my email system. blurred out to ensure confidentiality, but you will notice over on the left there are numerous black text lines, and under those black text lines are indented text lines. The first ones are the primary folders, and the indented ones are subfolders, and some subfolders have subfolders. Then the blue text indicates where there are unread emails in those folders. So it might look something like this. Now here is the big secret, folks. The one distraction killer and productivity enhancing task you need to do after you have done all we have spoken about thus far: scheduling your time. I know you all know how to schedule your time, but this is probably going to be a new way of scheduling for most of you. First off though, by a show of hands, how many of you use a task list or a to-do list? Yep, that is what I thought. And you know what? I used to have my hand up for that too. In fact, I had both hands up because I had a to-do list and a task list, and it seemed to make sense to me at the time. Our society has taught us to make a list. Get through that list, then you're done and ready to make your next list. And in some circumstances, lists need to be made for planning purposes, but for getting things done purposes, I have taken a new school of thought. You see, folks, the one thing that is required to get everything done in your busy business life is not a list. That one thing is time. And time alone is the one resource you truly have control over. I put all of my tasks, all of my to-dos in my calendar. No, not in the to-do list in my calendar. I put them in the calendar as an event, just like I would schedule a meeting. You see, folks, everything has a set amount of time to get it done. And if you just have a to-do list, well, that task might take an hour, it might take 2 hours, or it could take 15 minutes. What I do is I take my list, add the time limit to it, and schedule everything in my calendar, even the most minuscule things. Now hang in there with me. I will tell you the one most important scheduled task that saves me hours every day in just a moment. When it comes to larger projects, I break down into the smaller projects so I stay focused on one item at a time and get it all done in a timely manner. So my calendar for the day may look something like this. Now you will notice there are a lot of minor things in here, things that I might take for granted and assume they will get done no matter what. And they might, but then given enough distractions, enough interruptions, I could easily forget something or take way too much time on a project. For instance, in here you see at 8 a.m. I have to write a report for client 2, and I have an entire hour allotted to that task. If I thought I needed more time, I would assign it more time when I make the event in my calendar. I also have at 10 o'clock reviewing that report and then sending the report to the client immediately following that. This gives me the sense of urgency to get it done in the time allotted, then reviewing it later in the day, then sending it to the client. And all the time I get notifications on my screen of what is coming up for me to do in the day to help me stay in the zone for my workday. I have a small computer off to the side of my main computer. You can use any old laptop or computer or a tablet or a phone for this. Mine has my Google Calendar on it that pops up those reminders, which I see out of the corner of my eye. I have my Outlook calendar tied to my Google Calendar so I can see both business and personal things on one calendar. But take notice to 2 items in this morning schedule in particular, folks. Look at these. Do you see these? Yes, I give myself 4 half-hour time slots a day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, when I check emails and respond to emails. That is it. You see, email checking can suck up more time than you realize, almost as much as checking in to social media accounts. By scheduling your email time, you then prioritize what needs answered and what does not need answered, what is important to review and what is not important to review. And if it merits action, then that action gets put into a future calendar time slot. I don't do it right now. I schedule that work later. Obviously, there are emails you can respond to quickly with a yes, a no, or something else. But those actions that require time commitment, they get scheduled. And that, folks, is how you increase productivity by 3 times, thus unleashing your business growth potential by managing daily interruptions. Now, if you would like to know how to close more sales over the phone, then check out this video.